I know that you want to read a lot of books. You have hopped on the self improvement train and you want to read a shitload of books so you can get better in your life. You can actually apply all that information into your life. And don't get me wrong, it's going to be hard. It is hard for me to actually apply all the information that I learned from the books I read, but it's super effective. And I personally have made a system for myself through which I can actually read faster, learn all that information, and retain all that information faster, and actually apply all the things that I learned. I made a personal system for myself, and whoever I recommend it to, it works really, really well. So in this video, I'm going to quickly go over how you can personally read books quickly, actually retain all that information that you learned, and apply all those practical tips into your life. But before we get to that, I want to tell you about my personal experience with books, because I started this journey way before you, or probably not way before you if you're like ahead of me in the journey. I started my book reading journey 3 years ago when I was in grade 7 or 8. My first book was The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. I finally bought it from the book fair at my school. It was this huge warehouse in which there were millions of bookstores, millions of books, and I stumbled upon this book, The One Thing. Ooh, that seems interesting. Let me just take it home, buy it, and read it and see how this goes. And I'm not gonna lie, it was the best book, the best self-help book that I've read in my whole life. It changed my life forever. And that is exactly why reading books is so good. Because reading books just gives you access to all this information. Like the author of this book, Stephen Covey, has been researching, has been applying all this information that he has condensed into this book for his whole life. He has used this information in his whole life and he's putting it down into a book. So this is a life worth of information into just some book that you can read in a whole day. So that is exactly why books are so important to your life. And I see all of these people, these bullshitters, they tell you on the internet that you don't need to read books, you need to apply, you need to just take action. How the fuck are you able to take action if you do not get information in? If you don't know what kind of action you have to take? Yeah, you have to start. You don't have to like procrastinate and tell yourself, oh, I have to plan and do all this shit. You don't have to bullshit yourself. You can start as soon as you want, but you have to get better. And in order to get better, you have to read books. You have to get information in. You have to learn new things in order to get better at life, in order to make yourself better. So that is exactly why you need to start reading books, because reading books personally helped me a lot, and I think that they can also help you a lot in your self-improvement journey. So here is a system I personally use in order to read better, consolidate all that information into my brain, and actually apply all the practical tips that I read. So let's get straight to it. Part 1. You need to optimize first. You need to optimize physically in order to win the mental battle, because everything in your life first starts from your body. Once your body is ready, it's warmed up to read this book, then your brain is gonna be warmed up as well to read this book. It's gonna be ready for that battle. Think of your body and your brain, they are combining together. They're putting on their armor, they're getting their sword, they're making it sharp, they're getting their shield. Think of your body and your mind like that once you start prepping yourself, once you start preparing yourself to read that book. Because I see a lot of people struggling with this. They do not have good posture while reading, they do not breathe really good, and they're not working on their water intake, they're not working on their diet so they can actually read better. They don't think to themselves that to win the mental battle, you first have to win the physical battle. And how do you win the physical battle? By applying some physical habits which you can do right before reading a book, so that reading it can become easy. So that consolidating all that information and applying all that information gets easy. So here is how I personally win the physical battle every single time I sit down to read a book. I have really good posture. So for example, let me just do it sideways. For example, if you're sitting like this and you're reading a book like this with hunched up posture, you're not getting a lot of oxygen into your system. You're not getting a lot of oxygen into your brain, into your whole body, a lot of blood into your body. But once you fix your posture and you're reading books like this, then you're getting a lot of oxygen into your body. And oxygen is the miracle chemical for making you focus. You have to optimize for oxygen. That is exactly why you need to also breathe fully when you're reading a book. Breathe fully. Breathe from your nose and out from your mouth. Again, you're getting all that oxygen in, so you can easily focus. When your muscles, when your brain has all that oxygen within it, then it can focus easily. Then it doesn't get distracted. Then it is completely focused on whatever it is reading. So optimize for these two things. Whenever you sit down to work, have good posture and breathe fully from your nose and out through your mouth. It's that simple. And so this is going to really help you a lot with focus and actually preparing your body for the mental battle that is ahead. Now, another thing which you have to focus on is drinking water. Drink water before you sit down to read. And it's a really good habit that you can implement in your life. Just start drinking water. It's going to help you a lot. It's personally helped me a lot. Right now, I'm drinking 4 liters of water every single day. And I feel super good about myself. My face is clearing up. My acne is clearing up. I feel better about myself. I feel more energetic. I feel more focused. And most of all, I can actually read books better. That's another thing which I've learned. I'm more interested in reading books and I can focus easily. So start drinking water every single day. Aim for 4 liters of water every single day, and I'm guaranteeing you that this is going to help you a lot with every single thing in your life. Every single thing, with your sleep, with your diet, with your focus, and with reading books as well. So these 3 habits you have to implement in your life today. Good posture, breathing fully, and drinking a lot of water. Moving on. The second part of reading effectively is using your finger. Our brains, our minds are actually attracted to motion. Let me just do an experiment on you. Look at my finger and follow it. You followed it really well. I personally followed it really well right now when I was looking at my finger. And you were following it really well. Why? Because our brain, our eyes are attracted to motion. Whenever you see this insect moving in the air, then your eyes are attracted to it. Oh, that fly is flying around me. I need to kill it. Your brain is attracted to motion, and you can use that information to your advantage. How? Whenever you're reading books, put your finger and move it. Hover it over the page. And what is that going to force your brain to do? It's going to force your brain to read faster. It personally forces me to read faster, especially when I'm using my finger. You can try it out for yourself. Just get a book right now. Okay, I have my book with me. Open up a random page and start reading it first without using a finger. And then put your finger to the paper and start reading it again. And I'm guaranteeing you that there will be a 50% increase in your reading speed. This helps me a lot with saving a lot of time, especially while reading thick ass books like this. So start applying this to your life. The next time you sit down to read a book, use your finger, hover it over the page so you can actually read quickly and save yourself time and get all that information in as less time as possible. Moving on. Now this part is actually aimed to consolidate all the information that you have learned. And that is to write down every single thing that you have learned. So in my opinion, what I personally do is I have set a reading goal for myself. Okay, I need to read 30 pages today. Okay, I'm done with those 30 pages. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take my notebook. This is my learning notebook that I use to put all my information that I learn on a daily basis in. I open up a fresh page and I write it down. I write what I learned down. So for example, yesterday I was reading this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and this is everything I learned yesterday. I even made a cheeky little diagram over here so I can learn everything better. So that is how you personally do it. So start taking notes once you have actually read your book, and this is going to help you a lot with actually putting that topic into your own words so you can understand it better. because it all comes down to the Feynman technique. You can't understand something, you haven't understood something until and unless you can explain that concept to a 5-year-old. Can you explain what you have learned from, for example, this book to a 5-year-old? If the answer is no, then you have to go ahead and make some notes on it so you can actually consolidate and understand what you have read better. Some tips from the top of my head right now are to just put it into your own words, turn that information into diagrams so you can learn it better, and write your own opinion on whatever you have learned. If you disagree with it, disagree with it. If you like it, then you can add on to it with your personal experience. So whenever you're done reading a book, take yourself a notebook, or you can do it on your PC, and actually write down what you have learned into your notebook. And this is going to help you a lot with consolidating all that memory into your mind. Moving on to the final step of reading books, and this is all about putting the information that you have learned into your life. So for example, I read my book, I read my 30 pages, and I put all that information that I learned into my notebook. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the same page where I took my notes in, okay, and I'm going to turn it into something practical. For example, if I learned about this circle, if I learned about this paradigm that you have to create a circle of concern and a circle of influence in your life, my practical tip is going to be creating my own circle for influence and circle for concern into my life. So that is my current task. I have to create a circle of concern and circle of influence into my life so I can actually apply all these practical tips better than ever. So what I personally recommend is that once you are done taking notes from whatever you have read, just put a small to-do task at the end of those notes telling you that, okay, I need to create this diagram for my life so I can actually apply this information practically into my life. And that is alone going to help you a lot with actually applying all the information that you have read into your life, because a lot of people struggle with this. They start mentally masturbating by just reading books. They keep reading on books and they do not apply anything to their life. And once you apply actually this technique that I've just told you about, that actually putting everything into your life, making a practical tip out of it, out of everything that you have learned, that is going to help you out a lot. So that was a simple system that I use whenever I'm reading books in order to read quickly and faster, read better, consolidate all that information into my mind, and actually apply all that information practically into my life. And I'm really hopeful that this video has helped you a lot. And yeah, it would be really good that you can comment down the best part of the video and what techniques you actually use to use your books, whatever you are reading, to maximum effect. Thank you for watching, and remember, action over words.